What's going on, guys? Welcome to Real Men Talk. Today, we've got a very special episode for you. We are super excited. I've got my son, Tony Kernut. We got Bentley here that is going to be with us. We're going to be discussing with them. Both of them have graduated high school this year. They're getting ready to go off into another stage of life, and we're just going to discuss with them what this stage kind of is, what their expectations of life is, kind of, just ask them basic questions of, what is it to move on to the next level of life from where they're at today. And so we're super excited. And so let's get started on Real Men Talk.
Welcome to Real Men Talk, discussing the tough issues facing men and their families every day. Here are your hosts.
All right, guys, what's going on? All right, so let's introduce everybody first. Of course, we got Kyler with us. What's up, Kyler?
Hey, guys, what's up?
All right, so we got my boy, Tony Kernut. What's going on, Tony?
Hey, guys.
And we got Bentley.
Hey, yo.
Bentley, I don't know why your last name left me. I'm sorry. What is it? Bridgewater, that's right. Bentley Bridgewater. All right. So, I'm old, so.
Believe me, I know.
Listen to it. Yeah, I'm 18. I can remember everything. And so.
No, that is not true.
No, but so we're going to have a lot of fun this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope that our listeners can get a lot from it. So basically, I just want to brief, both of you guys graduated this year. Bentley, you graduated from Westwood Baptist Academy, right?
Yes, sir.
Tony graduated from Poplar Bluff High Schools. And both of you are going different places. Tony, you're going to James River Academy, right? James River College. Is that what they call it?
Leadership College.
Yeah, Leadership College up in Springfield. Bentley, you're working, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so which is perfectly fine. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so it's cool because we have two completely different perspectives, and that's exactly what I wanted. And so it's cool because with the stages that you guys are going into, the decisions that you guys are going to be making it's huge. Both of you, I feel like, are solid Christians. I see the way you guys act. Of course, Bentley, you're always over here. I see you around the boys all the time, so I get to spend some time with you. And so I see this side, the biblical side of the spiritual side of both of you guys. So it's exciting to see where God has brought you guys, and going into the next stage of life. Kind of give us just a quick rundown of like what your plans are, the immediate plans. That way the listeners kind of know. Tony, go ahead.
So I just graduated high school, and then I am going to James River College, which is like a small ministry college. So it's basically like a branch off of Evangel University in Springfield, Missouri. It's Springfield, Missouri.
That's where I went.
And then I will do worship leadership, which is just a practicum that goes. But James River is only a 2-year thing, so that's where I am for sure the next 2 years. And,
yeah. Awesome, Bentley.
So for me, the college scene really isn't like my main goal right now. What I want to do is go into conservation. Mm-hmm. So work with MDC, Missouri Department of Conservation, and basically right now it's all about getting my foot in the door and getting my name out there and trying to take hold of every opportunity I have. So right now I'm working like construction, which I've taken 2 years. I went to the Technical Career Center in Poplar Bluff High School. And for that, I learned construction, how to build houses and stuff. And I'm utilizing that right now to earn an income, which I enjoyed as well. But my ultimate goal is to work alongside animals and wildlife and being outdoors, because that's what I'm passionate about. But if that road takes me to college, I will fully embrace that. Of course, after much praying and taking time to see what God wants for me. But my main goal is conservation. Right now, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door, get my name out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of cool because Kyler and I, we also have completely different backgrounds. So Kyler, I didn't go to college. I dropped out of community college, to be real honest with you. I'm just laying it out there. I drive a dump truck for a living, of course, of ministry and different things like that. And then Kyler, go ahead, Kyler.
I have my master's degree in educational administration. So I did Evangel. So I went to there for pre-med, started out pre-med, then the Lord quickly changed that to education. So then I got my master's. And so I did the college route. I liked it. I liked my time at Evangel. It was good time.
Yeah. And I cared nothing about school. Nothing. I didn't care about high school. I sure enough didn't care about college. I'm just being honest.
Trying to go out the back door, and I was trying to close the door so I could learn.
Yeah. And so, like yeah. Anyways, we won't discuss all that. We've all got it passed. We'll leave that there. And so, but so it's kind of cool because you guys have different backgrounds too, and the Lord has really blessed me. The Lord has really blessed Kyler, and so it just kind of goes to show that you don't necessarily have to have college in order to, but if the Lord calls you to college, then that's what you need to do. And so, if you're a young person, listen to this is going to be a really good episode for you guys, especially if you're younger than graduating, and kind of see, a full perspective. So spiritually, okay. So like I said, I really believe that both of you guys are spiritually sound. Going into the next chapter of life, how do you feel that your time in youth group, your spiritual background, all that stuff is going to affect your worldview going on from here? Bentley, we'll start with you this time.
So basically with going through youth and stuff, going through that, the time where, it's focused more on young people and focused on us in a certain time frame in our lives, because now it's completely different. Now, I have so many more different obstacles going at me. And so in that time, it was really focusing on, maybe the path God had for me, and to find what passions and desires I have. And what Zach has really said to us recently is what our heart is breaking for. And that's usually where God is calling you. And so for me, the importance of youth for me was just kind of figuring out where God wants me to go. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of forgot the question, but
you're right on. You're good.
Yeah.
That's kind of what youth was for me. It got to where I was trying to get closer to the Lord and figure out what He wants for my life.
Right
now, it's more than ever. That's where I'm at. Mm-hmm. But again, youth was for a specific time, and I think it served its purpose well, and it can serve its purpose well if you want more from God and want what God wants.
Right. How do you feel that background has helped you to advance from here spiritually?
Oh yeah, I think if I tried to do it without any of that, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. I probably wouldn't even have the courage to think about the amount of people that would listen to me saying this.
Right.
So if I wasn't set in a position where I could hear God this way, where I could hear Him, because if I didn't have youth, I'm no telling where I would be, because it's had such an impact with my friends, who I let influence me, how I learned to deal with things, how I learned to, allow God in everything that I do. Just all of that, is gone. My relationship with God has grown so much in the time that I've been in youth, that if you were to take the time in youth out and just try to get through it without that, I would not even be sitting here.
Right. Awesome. Tony?
So just for the listeners, I think you should restate the question.
Okay. So how do you think that?
How has your background prepared you for the next chapter in your life?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that, first off, being in our youth group specifically, I mean, I'm not saying that there's no other good youth groups, but I think our youth pastor, Zach, did a fantastic job. Okay. And at preparing us, not only preparing us, but helping us find our own faith. He had a lot of focus on pushing us to find our own faith, and not to let it branch off of anybody else, or not to only know something based off of what somebody said, but to truly know it because you've sought it out, kind of thing. So having all that, having this deep rooted faith in that has been brought from the youth group, and having this knowledge of when I don't know something, it's okay not to know something, and I can go find out, and I have people to call back to find out. And that ultimately that no matter what, there's grace and that I can always come to God for it. And then like having all that moving forward gives me comfortability in like, and honestly, just having faith in God. So like a lot of the time, like I get asked like, how are you okay with leaving to go to college stuff? It's like, well, I'm really not, but like, I feel like this was a calling from God. And so because of that, like, I feel like I can trust God for it. Like it'll take care of itself. It'll be how he wants it to be, because I know, and I feel like that's only because of like the upbringing that I've had and the experiences that I've had, and that in the, just the teaching that like Zach has put on us just to like go through what we go through, and God's got it. And like, he has reasoning for it. And it's like, that's what we're here for, is to go through and live it out and like build our own testimony, our old life, our own, that kind of thing.
Excellent.
Nice. So Tony, I got a question.
Okay.
You're new to worship. I'm gonna say like, what, 2 years ago you really started like diving into it?
Yeah. 3 years ago I picked up a guitar for the first time, and I think it was probably,
Okay, walk me through that process. What prompted you? Because I mean, you're now going to James River Leadership College. Okay.
Right.
So I mean, it's all worship.
Yeah.
So what prompted you? What's that background behind that?
So whenever I started, so 3 years ago, COVID shut down is when my uncle had given me a guitar for watching some of his puppies. Like that, because that was the payment. I know that's kind of silly, but
sounds good to me.
Yeah, that was the payment. And so I got that guitar because I mean, I did want the guitar. It was his. It was really old, but I mean, it worked. And so I got the guitar and I was like playing it, whatever. I wanted to be the next Ed Sheeran, not the next worship pastor. But like as I was playing it, just playing, whatever I could, whatever I thought was easy.
Ed Sheeran, I like it.
Yeah, whatever I thought was easy. And I don't know, I guess just how much I stuck to it. I mean, I remember like getting my first blister on my finger from the guitar. Like, I guess just because I kept sticking to it, it just stuck. And the next thing I know, I was, learning how to sing in my shower. And then then I was like, you know what? They ask people to join the youth worship team. And I know how to play guitar. I really like the group of people that's up there. And I think it'd be pretty cool. So I was like, talk to them, whatever. They're like, you should just come try it. And so I went and tried out. And I was like, this is what I do know. And I know it's not a lot, but I'd really like to. And they go, don't worry about it. We got you, man. And so I hopped on that.
Tracks are full.
And yeah, right. And so I got into that, and it was crazy because like just a few months before I tried out for the youth worship team, I had got asked to open up a service, like just go up there and be like, hey guys, this is our youth group. We're so glad you're here, blah, blah, blah. And I got up there and I cried. Not because of the Holy Spirit, because I was just so scared to be up there in front of everybody. I was
nerve-wracking.
And we only had there was probably like 60, 70 people there. I mean, which is a good amount, but like, it's not like I was opening up a Sunday morning service. Like it was, I have no clue, but I cried. And then, get up there and I start playing guitar or whatever. I'm just in the background. And then one day they're like, do any of you guys want to sing? And I was like, I think it'd be cool. So I
like in my shower.
Yeah. So I was like, maybe it'll work. I mean, people tell me it's not that bad. So I picked out a song and I put it in the lowest key I could possibly sing in. And it was absolutely embarrassingly low. I literally sing it like 4 keys higher now. I mean, it is wild to think about it. It was nothing else. And I sung it like the key of, I don't know, it's probably F, and I sing it in A now. Like it was, or C now. No, it was so low. It was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But, so yeah, then, yeah. So then, I just kept pursuing that, and I was really like embracing that. I really, really, really enjoy it. And so then, I was talking to Zach, our youth pastor, a whole lot about it. And he's like, I think that you should go try to play for the Sunday morning. Or wait, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. At some point, whether I think it was either right after I went and started playing for the Sunday morning worship team, or right before at church camp. I really think it was right before, but it was one of the two. At a church camp, I was there, and that's when I felt called to do worship. I didn't necessarily know how. Like I didn't know if I was supposed to be like this, like worship pastor, or if I was supposed to be, I don't even know. So artist, like I have no clue what that entitled. I just it was like a thought that was placed
into Cody Carnes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And like it was just like a thought that was placed in my head, and I could like see myself in front of a crowd of people, and I was like, oh, I guess there goes the love song spirit. So
Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In the pocket. Yeah. So then I kept pursuing it, and then before you know it, it was, hey, you want to come play at a church camp? Hey, would you lead this church camp? You know, opportunities started falling out. Anytime I doubted it, there was always something that was like, hey, here you go. Yep. It was like, hey, don't, like, it's still there. Don't worry. Just because you haven't heard in a minute, like, it's still there. So yeah, I feel like that's how it's came up.
Nice. I was just thinking, me and Lacey were actually thinking about that the day. We're like, where did he even come from? Like, he just started one day, here's a guitar. Now he was playing piano the other day. And then I was like, geez, like he just came out of nowhere and now he's here.
Yeah.
But that's how God works. When he opens up a door, he opens it up, and you can either go walk through it quickly or you can walk through it slowly, and he's going to let you choose.
Definitely got it.
So,
Yeah, and I'm a little partial, but you know, I mean, it was really cool from the outside looking in, watching it. You know what I mean? Like he just picked up this guitar. He's like, I want to play this guitar. I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, and there's been many things he's like, I want to do, just like any kid, you know,
Right.
and being young. I want to do this, and he'll do it for a week, and then he's like, yeah, nah, I'm bored with it. And I really thought that's the way this guitar was going to be. And then it just like he just exploded. I was like, holy smokes, this is crazy. And I begin to analyze. I'm like, this is a talent for. And I told him, I said, this is a talent from God. Like you don't just pick up something like that and just be able to play. You know, now he's playing for multiple praise and worship bands, getting invited to different places. You know, all this.
that's crazy. You spent half your summer doing kids camps.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, Bentley, your turn. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
This is a deep, deep question.
I like it. I like deep
So
questions.
bring it back in there. All right. No matter what avenue the Lord calls you in, he can use it for ministry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You mentioned MDC and that's how you want to, that's how you feel like that's your calling. Okay. How do you think the Lord's calling you into that ministry? How do you want to use it?
So, I actually talked about this recently, and it's something I didn't really think about it until it was brought up to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, like I feel like I'm very blessed in a way that I have a lot of people that look up to me that I don't even know about.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only way I find out that there's like people that look up to me is through other people.
Right.
And so like it was something for a while that I never even had thought of. Like, they always say, have good character, be a good example. But like I feel like for me it was kind of just like, yeah, and like I never did anything to please other people.
Right.
It was all just like personal conviction and stuff. And so working in construction, I am around rough people like all the time. I'm around rough customers. It's hard because, a big thing is like you're the sum of the five most people you spend most time with. And so like at one point I had to consider the people I'm working with and how I'm letting them influence me. And I'm like, I got to thinking, and I've thought about it a lot since starting work and stuff. Like, well, I don't even have to shove it down their throat because I think that's wrong. I don't think I'm not gonna go to somebody and shove my beliefs, my my love for God down their throats.
Right.
So, and it's hard to in construction because none of them want it really. They don't. So for me, like I've got a guy I work with right now. I love him dearly. Like he's an awesome person. But he's not a big church guy. Like, I was talking to him today, and he was like, just not in that scene or whatever. And I'm like, I'm just talking to him. And I'm like, I'm not going to shove it down his throat, but I'm always here.
Right.
And so like with him, big thing I think about is just like, how am I going to influence it? And I told him today, like my big thing is showing people that I'm different, have a joy that's supernatural.
Yeah.
Like that is my big thing. Just being an example of Christ, in the workplace.
Right.
Because there are people like in construction fields and stuff that they don't get to see a lot of it because they don't, their lives, they can go their entire lives without hardly seeing anything about God. Like it's hard to admit, but it's possible. I'm not saying that they do, but me going out there and being like that light, and we just came through the kids fest at church where it was like shine of Jesus light, and it's funny, a lot of us laugh about it, but it's serious. It's true. Like, and that's me going out there, shining the light that God has given us, and has given me. And I think that that's where that that's how I feel like God's calling me out there in the construction field at the moment, right? And hopefully in conservation, unless he changes it, because he can change it whenever he wants.
Right. Absolutely. Man, that's awesome. And all this is exciting. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to continue this discussion. We're right back after this.
This portion of the Real Men Talk is brought to you by R.L. Persons Construction. For over 29 years, they have been a regional leader completing projects that include private, municipal, state, and federal agencies of all types. From mass grading, utilities, concrete of all types, to buildings both conventional and pre-engineered steel. You can expect excellence in all aspects of their finished work. Contact them today at 573-686-1323 and let them know you appreciate them bringing you Real Men Talk.
If you want to join in the conversation, join us on Thursday nights at 6:30 p.m. We gather with other like-minded Christian brothers to discuss hard-hitting topics that affect men on a daily basis and use a biblical approach to overcome common strongholds that affect our families. We show men the importance of being the spiritual leader of their home and what it means to be a real man in the eyes of Christ. Join us at the Palace of Praise, located at 1400 Herschel Best Boulevard in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. We meet in room 400 every Thursday. Come be a part of the discussion.
Well, son, I'm sorry to hear you didn't get the promotion. Would ice cream help?
Ice cream? Oh, come on, Dad. I've been working 80-hour weeks. I've wanted that job more than anything. Thought for sure I'd get it.
Let me give you some advice. Son, do you remember your great-great-great-grandfather?
I don't think I ever met the man.
Neither did I. But he was a man with hopes and dreams, too. Do you know what he dreamt of more than anything?
No.
Me neither. But do you know how much money he made?
No, how much?
I don't have any idea.
Is this going anywhere?
Son, only the things we do for God are important. In the light of eternity, everything else is either forgotten or turns to dust. Are your priorities straight?
No, I don't think so.
Come on, let's get some ice cream.
Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate it, but I'm going to go home and buy my son some ice cream.
Now you got the idea.
Another message from Lifeline Productions, located on the web at lifelinepro.com.
This portion of Real Men Talk is brought to you by the Jeweler's Bench. They are a full-service jewelry store offering many styles of gold, silver, diamonds, and gemstones. And all jewelry repair is done in-house so you can get your treasured pieces back as soon as possible. They are also a licensed Citizen Watch dealer. Make sure to visit them today at 1353 North Westwood or call 573-686-1522. Call or stop in and thank them for bringing you Real Men Talk. If you have a question about this week's show, please drop us an email to realmen@palaceofpraise.com. We would love to hear from you. And now back to the show with Anthony and Kyler.
All right, guys, welcome back. And so again, we're here with Tony and Bentley, and we're kind of discussing the next stages in life. Going through. Before we get to that, I want to kind of strike up a conversation of, Bentley. I find myself really relating to you because this is exactly where I was in high school. I graduated high school. I had no intent on going to college. I had no intent. You've got, obviously you're much further along than I am because the whole conservation and stuff like that. I had no plans at all. But I remember a calling that God had on my life, and I could never really figure it out, right? I remember this calling, and it was just for people, right? Like I just had this burden for people. I didn't know what it meant. I don't ever really feel like I've ever been called to be like a pastor. I couldn't sing. I still can't sing to save my life. I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I can't, and that. Whatever.
He didn't get it from him.
He didn't get it. He got it from his mom. His mom could sing, but they
I ain't gonna go.
I've never heard it. She won't sing. She refuses.
She refuses, but she can sing. But
Mind her.
But I remember this calling on my life, and I was like, Lord, I really know what this is, but whatever you want, And so you fast forward 20 years later, 21 years later, and here I am. I'm doing this podcast for these men. You know what I mean? And so I say that because I really want to give you a word of encouragement that don't look down on yourself because you're not going to go to these big fancy colleges. You don't have other than the conservation, which is an awesome thing. But you're not doing worship or a pastor or anything like that. That those callings that you have in your life are extremely valuable. Mm-hmm. And don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise, because you never know where God's going to take you. Good grief, I spent 9 years being a children's pastor, been on staff as on the church. I've done many different things, and all from a calling that I felt like God was just put on my life just for people. Mm-hmm. And so,
man, I it's crazy that you say that, because I think that's something that I've battled with a little bit, and especially more recently now that my friends are going to college.
Right.
And I have quite a few of them that, Tony, worship pastor, Malachi, he's going to become a pastor.
Right.
And I see all that. And I recently in the past year or so, I've grown a strong love for the Lord and for people. And like you said, you had a burden for people. And I feel like I'm the same way. I've never really said this to anyone, but I see I have things that happen to me, experiences I have that I want to share with other people, but I'm just waiting for the Lord to give me that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I've had so many people especially recently, be like, oh man, you'd be a good youth pastor. Oh, you'd be a good pastor. And I just tell them, I'm like, listen, I'm not felt that calling.
Right.
I said I might be good at it, but that's not what the Lord's called me at.
Yeah.
But that's my big thing, because I want to do more. I want to get involved more because I love the Lord. I love studying about the Lord and stuff. And I have so many things I want to share with people, but I know there's a time for it, and God will have that time. So I've not felt the calling.
Right.
And I could feel the calling in the future. God does what God wants. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So at the moment it doesn't, but that deep desire has caused me to battle with the want to do that,
right,
something like that, but I know that's not for me right now.
Right. And it may not be for the moment. I remember when Dusty and I first just after we got married, we were serving, and I was like, Lord, just give me a place to serve. Just put me in anywhere. I don't care. Just put me in, coach. It's kind of the thing mentality that I had. So there was a need for a junior children's pastor position, right? You're talking ages 4 to 6 years old. And I was like, okay, just put me in there, and we rocked it out, and we moved to the next church. We were running, good grief, 30, 40 kids, going into when we moved to the Palace of Praise. And then they're like, hey, there's this need for a children's pastor. It's a volunteer position. I'm like, yeah, put me in. I don't care. Well, then that led to becoming a full-time children's pastor, on staff at the church. And I preached at revivals. We went to camps. We did, all because there was just a calling on my life just for people, right? There was just a need that needed to be filled, and I just let the Lord direct me. And so I tell you all this because you never know. Mm-hmm. He's amusing. God's amusing. He's got a sense of humor, and so make sure you leave that open, because you have no idea where that's going to lead you to, mm-hmm. And the things that he's got me doing today are, I would have never guessed, especially for a community college dropout, I would have never guessed in a million years that he would ever have me doing things like, well, I've not said on the podcast yet, so I'm not going to say it yet, but just the things that he's got me doing, and I'm going, what in the world, but it's all God, all from a calling that I just had for a burden for people.
Yes.
And so
we have to remember that God needs workers in every field.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's called to college. I mean, my wife, she went to college for 4 years, never ended up with a degree, never at all. That wasn't her calling. That's not what she was supposed to do. She did it because that's what she thought the next steps was. And that wasn't her steps. That wasn't her story. Everybody has a different story, and God's molding your testimony. He's molding your calling. And that's what you need to focus on, not what your friends are doing, not what everybody else is doing. It's what does the Lord have for me in the future? What does he have in store for me? What do I need to do? Because we talked about this in the last podcast, our fulfillment is in the Lord, and we will always be filled if we allow him to fill our cups. And we have to make sure that we are walking in his footsteps, walking in his paths, which both of you sound like you're doing that already. You take time, you've prayed, you meditated over it, you've had a great background, you've been raised up strong, okay, in what you're doing. But just remember that no matter what you do, you're in the mission field. That's right. Every single time. No matter what you do, every time that you wake up, you step out your door, you're in the mission field, whether that's at college, whether that's in the woods, no matter where that's at, that's what the Lord has called you to.
Yep. Another word of wisdom I really like to point out, and I think this is going to be a little more difficult for Tony than it is Bentley, because Bentley, you're staying here. This is familiar. You have friends here, you know what I mean, to where, Tony's kind of going off. But Bentley, you had mentioned this 3 times. And I was like, man, that's really wise. I don't even think he realizes how wise that is. But you were talking about the people that you surround yourself with, right? I see the meme today that said, surround yourself with people who will fight for you when you're not in the room, right? Yeah. And the same goes for a spiritual strength, right? There's strength in numbers. You hear that all the time. Spiritually, it's the same thing, And so, what is your plans? And this is going to be tough. Okay, what is your plans in the world that we live in today? Okay, when you have everything fighting against you, you can't walk out the door without sexuality slapping you in the face. You can't you can't turn on the TV. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. And so, what is your strategic plan to keep your worldview founded in biblical principles? Tony, we'll start with you this time.
I think just keeping like an open mind about things, but 2, like knowing where I stand and being like confident where I stand. So like earlier when I was talking about Zach really pushing like having your own faith and owning your own faith, and not having other people's, like with that there comes this know what you know and know why you know it kind of thing. Yes. And so that helps with strength. But then there's also, like you were talking about, like the people that you're around. Well, keeping people around me that are like-minded helps me not to question those things. It helps me not to like struggle. And I know those people that are like, well, you have to you have to witness to people also. Like you have to be a light in other people's lives too that aren't. And I understand that, and I completely agree with it. It's biblical, but I think that sometimes people don't understand that it is so important that you don't make that your main time or your main influences other people that aren't like-minded, because of the just ill influence that it is over your life and what it can do. And most people will be like, well, it's not affecting me. Like it might affect you, but it's not affecting me. It's just not true. Right. It is affecting you. You just can't see it yet. And it hasn't shown up yet, or hasn't shown up in the way that you thought it would show up. It's still there. And it's going to. Like there's nothing you can do about it. So keeping people around me that are like-minded, and then also constantly diving into new things. So like with me going to college, I was talking about this earlier, but like with me going to college and meeting all these people, and this church is a different denomination, and I mean, not really hugely, it's pretty close to our denomination, but like they're a different denomination, and it's a college, so they're pulling people in from everywhere that are probably different denominations too, and also the thing, and not that the denominations truly always matter in a big sense, but like people have different beliefs, so then then you have to question your own beliefs, and then you have to question, okay, which one of this is right? Which one do I believe is right? And so just like being open-minded, like I said earlier, but also being willing to find it out yourself, like being willing to dig it out. Like, okay, I actually don't know, so I'm gonna go find out. Like I'm gonna go figure out. I'm gonna go open my Bible. I'm gonna go, and then having people to reach back to. I think anytime somebody asks me, I press this big is having people to talk to. Like always having like older influences and adults, and even for adults. I mean, Craig Rochelle has people that he goes to. There's nobody that doesn't have somebody higher up that they go to. Like you have to have somebody to go to. And I don't think people see the importance of that, because I think that people think that if they have to go to quote unquote therapy, if they have to go talk to somebody, then there's something wrong with them. And that's just not always the case. And that's like, I cannot press it enough. You hear this new thing about Christian therapists coming up or whatever, and some people think, oh, that's just cringy, that's just stupid, like that's just weird. Why? What's the point? You have God. No, it's because you need people to talk to. I think it's great. Like these Christian therapists, I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it should grow bigger, and I think it should keep going, because I think that people do not understand the importance of having people to go to. Yeah. Having multiple people, not just one person, because you want multiple point of views. You want more accessibility to the people. I mean, it's something big that I have to do to push. But yeah, I think all of those things is how I will keep my worldview and like make sure that it stays molding in the way that it has to be and going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything Tony said. Like, I've talked to Tony a lot about this recently, especially like me and Tony, we've been piggybacking off one another, our situations and, you know, what we've learned and stuff. So I think like everything he said, I agree with. But something that I think is very important, and I've started to learn more and more, is positioning. Mm-hmm. So, and by positioning, I don't literally mean where you put, like, position your body, but I mean mentally and physically. So mentally, what you consume, what you position yourself to hear, to allow to kind of enter your mind, whether you realize it or not, has a huge impact down the road.
Yes.
Because the more you consume something negative, whether it might be little, but if you have that little bit over a long period of time, you'll grow to like that negativity without realizing it.
Yes.
So like for me, I don't have any social media. Like that's a big thing. Like for me, like I struggle with it. I just didn't like the negativity and stuff. I realized a lot of it was senseless. That like I don't worry about people's lives. Like why do I want to? Like there's a certain level of that I do.
Right.
But at the same time, like if I see somebody post a selfie, like why am I gonna sit here and be like, why are you doing that? Like
it's true.
That was negative, and I was consuming that. And I didn't like that. I wanted to change it, so I got rid of all that. And like there's so much more negative, like you can dive into that on its own whole topic. But for me, like I just forego that, and that's a position I put myself in to eliminate that negativity and eliminate that negative worldview. Mm-hmm. And another thing too is like church. Like the importance of going to church is like positionally, I mean, it's like the biggest thing you can do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Whether you're super involved or not, whether you know a bunch of people or not, when you go to church more and more, God reveals himself to you more and more. Mm-hmm. And it could be a little bit, or it could be a lot, or it could be a gradual, incline, or it could just be a like boom right there. But positioning myself to like in church and stuff, and trying to get in church as much as I can, that helps me keep my worldview, what I believe. And then like Tony said, I don't think this can be stressed enough, is having your own faith and going and studying out yourself.
Right. Yes.
Like, because you can listen to your pastor and believe everything he says, or you can listen to your pastor and go affirm everything he says.
Right.
So like positionally, like it can all be boiled down to where you position yourself. You need to position yourself in a positive light in God or a negative light in the world. So like that's big for me. Like when you said that instantly, I just thought of position.
Right. That's good.
Yes. I mean, both of you, you both hit it right on the nail. I mean, Tony, talking about relationships, you can't be unequally yoked with the community around you. You can't. You are who you surround yourself with, and having mentors and people who, I have people who I talk to daily, some from Springfield, some from here, that we feed into each other all the time. But that's the sense of community, because you need that backbone. You need those people that you can talk to, and making sure that you're right. We don't have to go to church to see God, but when we go to church, we come with that expectation to meet God.
Yes.
And that's the part that we have to make sure that we do consistently. Like you said, Bentley, when we go to church, that expectation is always there. When we get on social media, when we get, into our jobs, we don't expect to see God there. We expect to do our job, and we expect to go home. And that's not what we need to do. And so when we add that element of church during the week, that expectation of meeting is always there. And you both are way beyond my ears half the time.
Yeah.
Half the time you say.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I'm extremely impressed with the wisdom that's coming out of you guys. I wish I would have been there whenever I was 18. You know, I was nowhere even close to where you guys are when it comes to wisdom and spirituality and stuff like that at 18. And so kudos to you guys. But, you know, another thing that I want to point out, just to piggyback off what you guys had said, you know, one, you know, absolutely about the church, Bentley. Absolutely. You know, and the thing that people don't understand is it's not, you know, and I don't want to take this really negatively. Okay. I don't want this to come across negative because that's not the way I mean it. There's not many times that I show up to church that I get like just this big revelation, right? You know, you know, that I'm not, you know, oftentimes I hear affirmations, right? So something that I've studied, that I come back and pastor just happen to be speaking on it, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you know, that's awesome. For me, it's the family, right? It's the brotherhood. It's the being able to have like-minded people that I can rely on, that can not only can I turn to when I'm in a hard time, but will kick me in the tail when I'm not in the right, you know, hey, that was not, you did not handle that correctly. You did, you know, and is not afraid to come to me lovingly, correct me, and make me stronger. Right. You know, and that's the whole, you hear all the flipping time. Well, you don't have to go to church to be saved. Well, that's true. You don't have to go to church to save. Church doesn't save you, right? Jesus saves you. But that church helps build you, right, in a way that nothing else can. You know, you can only get so much from so many online, you know, pastors, and there's so many online sermons, you know, you can only get so much for those before you know, along with all the other negativity that you're getting. But when you go there and there's a family, and that family not only, you know, feeds into you and stuff, but also keeps you accountable. Right. You know,
and while they say church can't save you, it can save you. I mean, not in the sense that, because when you go to church and it's not the fact of, you know, you professing your faith to God can save you, but church can be the difference between heaven and hell for some people.
Yes, it can be.
Because when you're not being fed into properly all the time, that temptation, the devil feeding into you, can get you there. So while it's not going to save you, it can in the end save you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to save your soul, but it can keep you there. Right. And, you know, and for many people have been saved inside of a church. You know what I mean? Many people. And so, I mean, again, I'm not trying to take away from the importance of church. That's not what I'm trying to do. Right. I'm just trying to say, you know, well, I guess I'm trying to emphasize the importance of church, just different than what the world sees it. Right.
Yes.
And so, and then another thing that I would just like to really impart upon you guys, you know, and Tony, you kind of hit on this. I tell my guys all the time in the men's group, every single person, especially if you're a man, every single man needs a Paul and they need a Timothy, right? They need a Paul that is pouring into their life consistently, somebody you turn to, somebody that you can rely on, somebody that will kick you in the pants whenever you're not doing right, that's not afraid to correct you, that will love you, that you can turn to, that you can grow from, that you can ask questions that you can't ask everybody else. And then every single person should have a Timothy. They should have somebody in their life that they are pouring into constantly. You know, and both of those positions will change over time. You know, like for you guys growing up, it was Zach. Zach was your guys' Paul. He poured into you guys. He, you know, when you guys had questions, you guys could go to him, or all those different things. That position will change over time. Eventually, it won't be Zach anymore. Eventually, you know, for me, for a long time, it's been Josh Reasons. You know, there's been a cut, you know, Pastor, you know, and Randy, you know, they've all been Pauls in my lives. Some of them more in seasons, you know, one will be more effective than the others. You know what I mean? And that's the way it is. And the Timothys in my life that I have constantly changes, right? You know, for a while it was, you know, Tony, it was you and Malachi and, you know, the rest of the kids, you know, and stuff like that. And as you're going off, you're not going to be my Timothy anymore. I've done my part. You're going to go off. You know, so that position has changed. You know, there have been men that have come into my life that God has put in my life that are Timothys, you know, that I've been able to pour into, that I've been able to just feed into. I was their Paul. They come to me for questions. They come to, you know, and so, but what that does is, one, it keeps you growing. Paul keeps you growing in the right direction. Timothy keeps you accountable. right? Because if you're going to feed into him and you want to do it right, you have to be in the right position, right? Mentally, spiritually, physically, to be able to help that person and to be able to guide them along, right? So that's just my 2 cents there. Right, Kyler?
I like it. So on a lighter note, what are you excited for next? Like, what makes you excited for moving to Springfield, to continuing, maybe going into MDC, whatever? What makes you excited for that? I don't care who goes first.
I'll go. Okay, so I'm going to this James River College, and I am studying worship leadership, and I'm growing in that spot. And so, like we were talking about earlier, like 3 years ago, I picked up a guitar for the first time. Like 2 years ago, I started singing. Like a year ago, I started playing with the piano, and I can't even tell you when I learned how to sing harmony. Like it just started happening. Like it just like all these things that just started happening. But I was never taught how to do any of them. Like it was all stealth. So like I can't even tell you that I'm doing it right. Like I just doing what I know. And so like a big thing is I'm really excited to learn how to do all this stuff, and like to really know how to do it, and then apply it and like put it into its thing. So like I got asked to like lead that camp this summer. Mm-hmm. And so it was a youth camp. And so they were all like roughly my age and younger, but like still like the junior high school age or whatever. And like, I've always looked at those people and like, man, that would be awesome to be up there eventually. And then when I got there, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, how did I get here? How did this happen?
You asked me.
Like, yeah, exactly. So it was like that kind of thing. But then like, and I did it, and the whole time it was like, well, now I really got to rely on God, because I don't know that I can do it yet. Right. And so like, it was that for the whole time. But like, to go and learn, like at this place, I would be learning how to do that, and how the Bible says I should do that, and how like, so like, not to say necessarily that I did it wrong before, which I'm sure there was things that I did wrong, but like to learn, okay, what did I do wrong? And like, what should I do next time? And what should I, like all these different kinds of things of just like truly going, because it's like what we were just talking about going to people, like, these are like, this is where I'm going to learn how to really do it. And like, how do they do it in the Bible? I mean, what did all these people that were leading worship before do? What should we do? What still needs to be applied? All that kind of stuff. And really how to just direct it. Like that's really what I'm excited for. Like, I want to know how and why for everything, because everything that I've done so far, like I've had people to look up to in all this stuff, like John and you, Kyler, and like people that are already doing it. Yeah. But it's never been in the opportunity where it's about to be, where instead of just me watching other people do it and me like seeing them do it, mm-hmm. I'm like, their sole purpose and their sole mission is to teach me how to do it in the best of my ability. And so I think that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah. And the best part about James River is they teach you how to serve first, and then they teach you how to lead. They are very much servant leadership there. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get a fantastic, I don't even know. It's just going to be awesome for you. That's all I can say. Yeah. Bentley, what about you?
So yeah, I was thinking, I was like, man, Tony stole my answer. Like, to be honest.
Should have went first. I gave you an option.
But then I got to thinking, I'm like, our situations are completely different. Mm-hmm. So he was going to answer it one way, and I'm going to answer it another way. Like, completely mm-hmm. different. Like, and I was thinking about it. I was like, man, he's excited to learn. I've been excited to learn. Like, I was talking to somebody today, and I was like, I just got out of school, but I kind of want to go back. Is it because now it's like
good time?
Yeah, that I didn't like meet.
I used to be over there like, what did you say?
I've never felt that in my life
ever. No, I'm just go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're good.
But I kind of like, with the conservation and all of that, I am excited to learn more deeply about that and God's world, God's creation. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, I enjoy looking up facts about trees. Like, it's weird.
What kind of trees over there?
But like, I'm excited to learn in the sense of I want to learn about God's mm-hmm. nature, the things God has created. Like, that excites me. Like, that really does. Like, I've been just wanting to learn and experience and just try new things and learn new things and just try to learn as much as I can. Yeah. And I feel like, my deepest part is conservation and stuff like that, and animals and nature and what God has created. So like, that's where my excitement is at right now, is that excitement to learn more about God and his creation because it's beautiful whenever, like, because our world wasn't intended for sin.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, our world was perfect before sin entered. And so, like, a part of what we have was meant for perfection. So, like, learning about that, learning how, like, the human body was designed and stuff, like how God, you know, intended for it. It's just, it's really, it's breathtaking to me.
Yeah.
It's cool.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Thought about it like that. That is cool.
I like how you said you're excited to learn about God's nature, because you're right. He created it perfectly, and that's something that nature has never changed, was God's perfect nature. Humans, I mean, we change it all the time, but when you are in what God has created, without it being tainted, without it being spoiled or anything, when you're there, you get to see the true heart of God, the true simplicity of God, and I like that. I like that.
Yes. So as we're wrapping this up, as we're going to land this plane, if there is somebody listening, okay, that is, let's say they're 15, 16, 17 years old, they're getting ready to go into the junior, senior year of high school, or they're getting ready, they're going to be making plans for their future, right? They're in that position, junior, seniors, stuff like that. Looking back, what kind of wisdom could you impart upon a person, a young man that is getting ready to make decisions, because it's cool because they get to see two different perspectives, right? And you guys have got a lot of wisdom. What kind of wisdom would you impart on them?
I'll go first this time.
Okay.
Man, it's amazing how much God reveals to you when you consider him in everything. Every little decision. Like, for me, it's like a lot of times I find myself, God, what direction do you want me to take through town? Like, I've done that before. And it sounds weird. Like, it really does. Like, a lot of people would listen and I'd be like, he's not gonna give you an answer right there. But it's oftentimes the answer comes in the form of feeling. And like, I can't tell you, like, I've had 2 or 3 incidents where it's like, God, show me where to go. And I've gone a different way. And God's kept me from something that could have happened. Like, I've had like two incidents I know of for sure that I've gone somewhat like a different direction, and there has been an accident in the direction I wanted to go.
Right.
And so, like, I've been trying to, I'm not perfect at it. I struggle with it. Like, I catch myself, I'm like, man, you need to start thinking of God more. So, like, for them right now, and they may do it and like think it doesn't have an effect, but if they consider God in every step that they take, I mean, literally every step that they take, it's amazing how much he can reveal himself. And when you're struggling to figure out what you want to do, what you feel like God's calling you to do, when you start considering him in everything, like, for me, it was just being in nature and stuff, and then considering God in nature and all of that. And then it's like, wow, like, that's all I can describe it as. And it's just from me considering God and where I was at, what I was doing. And so, like, man, just honestly, just consider God in everything that you do, and he'll reveal himself to you. He'll show you what he wants for you.
That's good, man. That's good. It's good, Tony.
So I think probably 2 things. One, if you're still in high school and you're still wrapping things up, something I see a whole lot is, like, I have no problems with like sports or anything like that. I played sports all through high school and all that, but those things that are just temporary, like, have the best time with them, but so often those things come in the way of church and of important things that they're put at a priority that's way too high. And that's something that, like, now that I'm out of high school and I look back and I like see, and I'm like, that, like, man, that I didn't always have the biggest struggle for it. I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't. I did, of course, sometimes. I remember my entire first year of youth group where I was terrified to go, and I used soccer as an excuse the entire time. I don't think I went hardly at all. But I was terrified. I was so scared to go to youth group. But now I don't want to leave. But don't put those as such a high priority. Like, and I hear these people and it's like, oh, but you don't understand. I've played it my whole life. Like, I have to. Okay, but next year, are you going to play it? Because you graduate after this. Are you going to play it after next year? Probably not. If you are, kudos to you. I mean, keep going. But it's not like this. No, that's not life or death. And like you can still keep playing. Like me, like I don't want to stop playing sports, but I'm at high school and I'm not going anywhere major. So I'll play recreational and I'll play in the intramural leagues of college, and I still go to the gym to stay fit and everything. Like those things aren't so high priority as some people make them out to be. So I just want to encourage you that, like, keep that in mind. And then another thing is have faith. God will get you through it. So like for me, I thought I was supposed to go to college, but I just thought it was supposed to be at the community college here, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't know if I needed to go to college. But I'm pretty. I mean, I don't want to like say I'm smart or anything, but like I'm pretty good with numbers, and like I could figure things out. I mean, I was in some advanced classes or whatever, so I was like, if I could get, I know that you don't have to have a degree to make money, but if I can get a high degree because I know that I can get through it, I mean, and I can make a lot of money, why would I not? Like I have this gift, I might as well use it. And so like that was a big thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, where am I going to college? Where am I going to go to college? And I did not know for the longest time. And then, but like I'd pray about it. And then one day, and I didn't even think about this until way after it happened. One day I was working at a restaurant here in Poplar Bluff, and I was serving, and this huge family came in, and it was a party that I had, and they asked to pray with me. And I was like this doesn't happen. Like if you're a server, you know, this doesn't happen. I was so caught off guard. Obviously I was like, sure. But I mean, I could feel my face get red, and I was like, we're busy. Like part of me wanted to be like, yeah, part of me wanted to be like I'm busy. Like, no, I gotta go. And this was awkward as all get out. And these people were kind of weird. I mean, they're really funny and lively and everything, but I was like, I'm kind of scared right now. Please stop. But because I was like, I didn't know what else to say. I was like, yeah, I'm about to graduate high school and I still don't know where I want to go to college. Like, that's just what I said. That's all I could think about. They prayed for me, and I'm pretty sure that was like 2 weeks before I went toward the college that God ended up telling me this is where you need to go. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but think that was definitely supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? So like, just praying that. And then like people are always like I said earlier, like, how do you have faith to go to college? I don't, and I don't know what I want to do after. Like going into worship leadership, I'm probably not gonna make a whole lot of money, and I know that, but
gonna be broke.
Right, gonna be broke. But like I'm going into that. What am I gonna do after? I have not a clue. James River is only 2 years. Are you going to Evangel after? I have not a clue. What degree would you get? I don't know. All I know is that God wants me to go here, and so I'm taking that step. And I've learned that so much going into it, is that sometimes it's just a step at a time. It's just like taking that step. So like that scared me forever. I mean, I remember like really freaking out sometimes, which I don't know why I freaked out. I mean, I still had so much time, but I would really freak out because I had no clue, and I just wanted to know so bad. Just take a step when you see a step. Pray about it, continue to pray about it, and it'll happen. If you truly give it to God and let it go His way, it'll happen. It'll come. Mm-hmm. So I think those are the two biggest things that I've given to people.
Absolutely. And that resonates even through life. You know, Kyler can attest to this.
Yes.
But there are often times God's like, hey, I want you to do this. And you're like, but what's after that? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what's next. I want you to do this, but what's after that? Don't worry about it. Take this step. But I don't want to take this step because I don't know what's on the other side of that step. You know, and sometimes you just gotta take it. It's kind of, this is a lot older than you guys. This is my age, but yeah, Kyler may remember the old Indiana Jones movie.
Okay, I do, but just everybody remember, he's way older than me.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it. I remember like all.
Right? Yeah, he was my dude. No, but the one where he was going to get the cup. Remember when he had to go through all those steps or whatever, and there was the leap of faith, and he stepped out across there, and like it was like smoke and mirrors or whatever. You just couldn't see the path. You didn't know, but he had to step out of the path to get the, and that's the way God directs life sometimes. Hey, I want you to go here. Oftentimes we want God to use, or maybe not everybody else, but me, I want God to use flashing billboards, that I cannot miss at all.
Voices.
Yes. Like, Anthony, I want you to do this. I would love that. But I just know.
If you could just send me a text message from God.
Right?
Thank you. That'd be perfect.
But where's the faith in that?
It's true.
Where's the faith in that? And so, many times some of my greatest achievements have been because God said, do this. And I'm like, okay, I have no idea what's next. Here we go. You know,
If there's one thing you can remember in your next steps, and it's something that I wish I would have known a long time ago, was just simple obedience.
yes.
And I was put in my place on Sunday, this Sunday, about simple obedience. And it's something that my mentors have been telling me for many years, but it's still hard. Because God's going to take you out of your comfort zone no matter what. And when he takes you into the unknown, that's usually when we grow the most.
That's right. Greg Rochelle said,
Let yourself go.
yes. Greg Rochelle said, you cannot have comfort and growth at the same time.
I wish we could. That'd be
Right.
nice.
That would be nice.
Sit on my cushy couch.
Yes. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. So, listeners, if I hope you enjoyed today. If you enjoyed it, please share it. If you have young people that are getting ready to take that next, maybe you have a senior this year, or maybe you have a young person that is getting ready to go into college, share it with them. Share, the more it shares, the more the algorithm throws it out there, all that good jazz. Give us a high rating. If you're not going to give us a 4 rating, just ignore it. Don't worry about it. And no, I'm just joking. But know that God loves you and he is for you. He wants to see you succeed. He's got plans for your life. And we love you. If you got any questions, please email us, realmen@palaceofpraise.com. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Please, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Before we say the prayer, we have just launched a brand new website. You guys have got to go check out Real Men at, what is it, Kyler? realmenministries.us. It's a brand new. We just launched it, last week?
Yeah.
And so, go check it out. Let us know what you think and all that good stuff. And as always, I want to end in a prayer. Holy Spirit, guide us to be leaders of our homes, of our communities, and of our churches, and teach us to be godly, courageous men. In Jesus' name, amen.
You've been listening to Real Men Talk, brought to you by Palace of Praise Church in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. If you would like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email, realmen@palaceofpraise.com, or visit our website at palaceofpraise.com. If you're a man age 16 and up and would like to be a part of the conversation, join us at the Palace of Praise every Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. If you don't have a home church, consider joining us for worship on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. Palace of Praise is located at 1400 Herschel Best Boulevard in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. New episodes of Real Men Talk drop every Thursday at 5 p.m. You can find us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm, Amazon, and more. Real Men Talk is a production of Palace Media Service.
Real Men Talk has been brought to you this week by RLP Construction in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. For commercial contracting of all types, see RLP Construction today. And by the Jeweler's Bench in Poplar Bluff. They are your one-stop shop for all your fine jewelry needs. They also do in-house repair and are your Citizen watch dealer. Make sure to thank our sponsors for bringing you Real Men Talk.
If you want to join in the conversation, join us on Thursday nights at 6:30 p.m. We gather with other like-minded Christian brothers to discuss hard-hitting topics that affect men on a daily basis and use a biblical approach to overcome common strongholds that affect our families. We show men the importance of being the spiritual leader of their home and what it means to be a real man in the eyes of Christ. Join us at the Palace of Praise, located at 1400 Herschel Best Boulevard in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. We meet in room 400 every Thursday. Come be a part of the discussion.